Hey, what's going on, my friends? What is going on? I'm going to step out of here for a moment. I want to talk to you, coming at you with an impromptu, call it a public service announcement, if you will. But this is something that I've been wanting to talk to everybody about. And this is something that you need to know, because as a real estate investor and as a real estate educator and a real estate trainer, actually, let me jump down into downstairs part of the office here. It's step into the studio here. It's a little quiet. It's a beautiful day at the beach. Check that out. Gotta love where you work, enjoy where you are, right? So look, this is something that you guys need to know, okay? This is extremely important because, Sai, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Glad you're here with us. Something you need to know, because at the end of the day, it's a tough market out there. It's a seller's market. And when it's a seller's market, it's difficult or more difficult to get properties under contract. I'm sure that you can agree. If you've been trying to do deals, if you're new and you've never even tried to put a property under contract, I'm sure you're aware that it's a seller's market, right? That means that inventory is slim, buyers are abundant. Everybody wants a property, everybody wants a deal, but there's not a whole lot of them. Awesome. Good. I'm glad you're doing good. Stoked to be here with you guys. And so call this about an impromptu webinar type of format. Okay, I want to talk to you about the justified offer, and I'll answer a few of your questions. Okay, so the justified offer. This is something that I coined. It's something that I created so that we get more properties under contract in a really tight market. So as of right now, seller's market, inventory is low. So here's how it works. At the end of the day, the justified offer is something that when you implement is almost guaranteed to at least get the conversation and 80% higher chance of actually getting a property under contract, because you're giving the seller a logical offer, a fair offer and logic, a realistic offer. You're not out there trying to make this offer for 50 cents on a dollar or 60 cents on a dollar. You're trying to give them what they're going to end up with anyways, and ask for a slight discount because of how quickly you can perform. So, all right, the justified offer as a real estate investor and a real estate wholesaler is obviously extremely critical to be able to get properties under contract. And when you use the justified offer, this is going to help you actually accomplish that. Okay, so what I want to do is use like an example. Okay, so here in Florida, many properties go for about $100,000. Okay, it's an average, median income type of deal. Okay, so actually, before I get into that, let me give you some context. Okay, the justified offer. So again, it's a realistic offer that we're trying to achieve, right? A realistic offer that we're trying to get to the seller, and then you want to break down what the reality is for them. So what would be the reality? What is a seller's reality? Well, they're going to have real estate commissions if they sell their property traditionally. Okay, they're going to have commissions. In most places, that's going to be 6% commissions. Okay, there's another thing that's a reality for any seller. It's called buyer concessions. That's when they put a buyer puts a property under contract, and then they get an inspection, and they're looking around, and the faucet's leaking, or the ceiling fan's coming down, or there's a leak they found somewhere, and they want those things fixed before. Sorry about that. I was getting a call at the same time. Come on, people. You'll be calling me here. I'm hooking everybody up with some data here. So there's things that the buyer wants done before the property, before they close on the property. And what's interesting is those can range anywhere from like 0.5 or 1% of a purchase price all the way up to 5-10% depending on the repairs. So that's a realistic thing that happens. And for any of you that have ever flipped any of your own homes or flipped renovation properties, you know what I'm talking about, right? When you go to put that flip on the market or your own home on the market, and then you get a buyer that comes in and they do inspections, there's stuff they want fixed. That's just the way it works. And here, particularly in the state of Florida, everything's as is. It doesn't matter. They still want things done, and they dangle that carrot above you so that you do it. So that's just sort of the way it works, right? Buyer concessions. Another thing that you need to explain to sellers, right? So there's the 6%, there's buyer concessions, which can go all the way up to 10% in extreme scenarios, safe to say average. Then you have average DOM, days on market. That, my friends, is really critical. We need to find out if a seller is motivated to they have all the time in the world, right? If they have all the time in the world, they really do not care at all, or if they would just like to move on. They don't need to be, oh my God, I gotta move the next 15 days or I'm gonna lose my home. Just somebody that wants to avoid the pain of showing their property and the hassle of putting a lockbox on there and people driving by their home every day and the realistic problems that come along with your property being listed in public domain. It's a pain in the butt. And as buyers, we are responsible for reminding them of how much of a pain in the butt that can realistically be. Okay? And then we're going to end it with, to avoid this pain, this pain, this pain, days on market. Like, for example, in Florida, average days on market is 64 days. That means if you put a property on, even in the seller's market, 64 days. That means you could be just over 2 months until you close the house. So you keep pain point, pain point, pain point, and is to avoid all of this pain is a quick cash offer not worth a 10 to a 15% discount. So let's put this in context, all right? So let's put a number on a prop. Let's put it in context, 100,000, or let's call it a home. A home is worth $185,000. So you guys just did something. You did direct mail campaign. You're working with another wholesaler, whatever. There's a property that you have available that you can put under contract right now, okay? It's real market value, right? You're talking to the seller. You ask them what they want. They say, well, I pulled up the value of the home on Zillow, or I looked online and I got an ePraisal or Bank of America, all this online free appraisals, and it says my home's worth $185,000. $185,000. That's what it said it's worth. Now, you cannot argue that unless you want to actually get into a real legit argument with the seller, which is not a smart thing to do. Right? You don't want to cause friction. Oh, your home's all jacked up. Trust me, that's not the right way to go about getting a property under contract, because now you're not on their side, you're on opposite sides. Ask me how I know. I've done it 1,000 times. You don't want to do that. You want to be on their side all the time. And you want to give them a realistic fair offer. So, it's worth $185,000. What do we do these days? Well, we obviously pull our own records and pull our own comparables and pull up our own values from our own software. You can use Freedom Soft, or you can even use Zillow. No, don't pay attention to the Zestimate. Pay attention to the average of the 4 comparable homes that sold around it. And you could potentially agree and say, you know what, I agree. Let's call her Miss Smith. Miss Smith, I agree. Your property is worth about $185,000 in move-in ready condition. If it's move-in ready. Now, obviously I haven't been through it, so I would agree. It's worth about $185,000. So, Miss Smith, do you mind, now again, guys, this is all in context that we are talking on the phone with a motivated seller. Used to the direct mail campaign, and then the inbound call came in. And this is Miss Smith, and she says she wants $185,000 for a property because her property is maybe worth $185,000. So, it's our job to give her the bullet points that I just talked about, the justified offer. So 6% commissions, buyer concessions, and we're gonna break this down to realistic levels. And what I would suggest, I don't have one with me because I just did this kind of impromptu with you guys, but have a calculator. And whether you are in actually there at the property with the seller, or if you're on the phone, break it down with real math, right? Real math. And by the way, if anybody here has any questions while I'm going over this, feel free to go ahead and ask, okay? I see a few here, but I'm going to keep going, and then I'll answer a few questions. Cool. So at the end of the day, we need to break this down realistically. So build rapport and agree. Immediately, guys, once you agree with the seller, right, you guys are on the same page. It is so powerful to agree to not be what a lot of other people out there are talking about and teaching you, going, oh, you need to point out that this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong. If you've ever done that, side who's on this call, I know, buddy, you might have done, I'm pretty sure you've done that before. That doesn't work, right? When you start creating you're not on the same page with them. So the justified offer is going to help you stay on the same page. Agree, and logically show them what they're going to end up with at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, every closing has a HUD statement, or it's called a settlement statement. And that settlement statement, he says, I definitely I've done that. Yeah, man, we all have, dude. We all have. I learned the hard way myself. So the settlement statement's the final document that just outlines all of the expenses, right? All of the expenses, and then it outlines how much money the buyer's, exactly to the penny, how much money the buyer's going to bring to the table to close, and how much exactly the seller is going to receive at closing, the check. So the check that Miss Smith is going to receive. So she wants $185,000. It is our job to break down what life is going to look like, help her picture her, help remind her of what's going to happen the day she's at the closing table. The realistic check that she's going to actually receive. You see, when we all have a property for sale, and by the way, I'm a seller all the time. I still buy and renovate and flip properties, right? So when I put a bunch of money into a property and I list it, I'm like, oh, this baby's worth $250. I go through the same process as a seller, okay? And that's what's so cool and why it's so effective when I came up with this. So 185. So we're going to say, Miss Smith, okay, I agree it's worth 185. So if you put it on the market, you're obviously, I'm assuming you're going to hire a realtor if you were to do that and not go this route, not work with a cash buyer like me. What would you do? Well, I'll hire a realtor. Oh, do you know any? Well, yeah, my nephew is a realtor. Okay, cool. So typically, Miss Smith, you know that realtors' commissions are 6%. Right? 3% on the sell side, 3% on the buyer side. Okay? Either way, like in the state of Florida, that 6% is going to come out of the net from her side. Okay? So, all right, man. All right. So you understand that 6% commissions. So 6% of $185,000. I don't know if anybody here can hook me up with that. I'm going to try to do almost $3,000, right? $185,000 property. I don't know if anybody can check me on that here. Go ahead. Okay. So it's like around $3,000. Right? Let's make it easy. So there's $3,000 in commissions, or no, it'd be more than that. I'm sorry, it'd be much more than that. So you should remind her of the commissions. That's 6%. Well, there we are. Are we back? We're back. Cool. Sorry about that. Just had a bad connection. So we're at 6%. For commissions. Now we're at buyer concessions. Remind her, when people walk through this property, Miss Smith, and if there's any little things wrong, they're going to ask for them to be repaired. You can either accept or deny. Now, here's the reason, Miss Smith, that most of us end up fixing what the buyers want. Here's why, Miss Smith, and if you could put your context in like I am, this would be great. Because here's what I would say. Miss Smith, we would do that because 10 grand, Richard? All right, thanks, man. No one ever said you got to be a math genius to make money, right? Which is interesting. I know how to count my cash. That's about it. So at the end of the day, you're at the 6% commissions. Now we're at buyer concessions. You remind her, hey, Miss Smith, when you bought this home, did you have an inspection? And she's most likely, 90% chance, going to say, oh, yeah, of course I got inspected. Okay, was there anything wrong with the home that you wanted fixed before you closed on the home, before you purchased it? Yeah, well, there was this and this, and I got done. Right, so Miss Smith, it's probably fair to say that if there's any little things that buyers are going to do the same deal. So she'll say, okay, so you tell her, look, let's just keep it on the low side, 2% of the $185,000. Right? Now, Miss Smith, in our state, in our county, are you aware of the average days on market? Are you aware of the average days on market? DOM, it's called. It's what the realtors call it. 11,000. Everyone's correcting my math. All right, good. We'll do the math. Okay, so we're at 185, right? What? Even if, look, and sometimes people give a little bit of a discount, like 5% if it's a brother or whatever, right? So call it 175, okay? So we're already down to 175, all right? Now we're at buyer concessions, 1 to 3%, okay? Let's call that $3,000. So now we're down to $172,000, right? From a property that we all agree was worth 185, 172. Now we have closing costs. Closing costs in most states cost around 2.5 to 3%. Okay. So now we're going to run down to where are we at? Like 169, 168. Okay. Now we have days on market. Add in taxes, right? Add in insurance for the extra 3 or 4 months. Whatever other utilities that she may or may not have to pay. Okay. So now we just realistically did the math, right, to show her what she's authentically going to get when she closes. Now, here's the kicker, my friends. This right here is going to make you a lot of money. Even in a seller's market, if a home is worth $185,000, do you think that a buyer that she lists it with a realtor, do they always come in and say, I know you're asking 185 and I'm going to give you 185? Doesn't always happen like that, right? Okay. So what we do is we ask Miss Smith, ma'am, when you bought the property, or when you were interested in this home, and by the way, you notice that I keep saying the word property, not home, property. When you bought this property, did you pay full asking price? Honestly, did you? And she's gonna say, no, we made an offer. And then you say, okay, what did you agree on? Did you agree? So it's safe to say you didn't pay full price, right? Okay, Miss Smith, is it safe to say most people don't pay the asking price of a property, the asking price of a home? Yeah, in my experience, it's safe to say. Okay, so we're already at so you can get her to agree that it's worth market value is 180. And that you guys have agreed that it would probably sell or go under contract at 185. It's what it's worth. It would go under contract at 180. That's just a good, safe number at 180. And then you're doing all these deductions that has happened over a 3 to 4 month period while people are walking through your home. Your life is being disrupted, right? All to get a check if you own it free and clear and there's no debt. All to get a check for $160,000. So you wanted 185, you end up with 160. This is real. I have to go through this all the time. Whenever I relist a property, I'm like, oh, I want 250. I don't want to get a check for 250. That's just not the way the world works. So, and by the way, guys, I can show her HUDs of properties that I, as an investor, right, have bought and sold. Right? So I can say, hey, I renovated this property, I listed it at 250, here's the check I got. Right? So we go all the way down the justified offer. And at the end of the day, you're going to get 160. And then here's the question. Ms. Smith, is a quick cash offer not worth a 15% discount? To avoid boom, 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 all to end up with 160, wouldn't you like to just get this done at 150? Let's just sign a contract at 150 and I can have this closed in 15, 20 days. Guys, this is a realistic way to give logic to sellers. You see, when we have a home or we have an investment property, I don't know if there's seasoned investors listening to this right now, you know that you get locked in. This deal's worth $175,000. I'm going to list it for $175,000. Well, you're going to list it for $175,000, but you ain't getting $175,000 after you leave that title company, right? That's not what that HUD statement says. So we just want to remind people of how it really works, and then ask them if we can help them avoid all of that pain and avoid that time. Is it worth X discount? Now, obviously, you'd want to start as high as possible. Some of my students, right, and I don't know, I think maybe Sai, you've done this, but some of my students have gone all the way to like 20, 30%, asking for a 30% discount right off the bat. 15, 20, I believe is fair. It all depends. So you'll be able to kind of sense that when you are talking or negotiating with them. Now, here's what's cooler, guys. All of this stuff can be written out, right? Written down and then delivered to somebody like an acquisitions or a sales manager or a virtual assistant that can do this process for you, okay? So everything we just talked about, you can write it down, set expectations, hire a virtual assistant for literally $7 an hour, and if it only takes them an hour, that's $7 to do the justified offers for you. Oh, and by the way, there are virtual assistants out there that have a lot more experience talking to sellers and buyers than we do. So I said, or even more, it depends on the price that they come in and how bad the property is. True, man. True. So you can get even more of a discount, right? Wow, are you saying you've gone over asking for a 30% discount on that deal, on that example? Nice, dude. Nice. Ninja. So guys, this is how we're realistically getting properties under contract. Do not, please, I'm doing this as like a favor for you. This is like, this is educational content for you so that you don't go out there butting your head against the wall going, I can't get a deal under contract because you're out there trying to quote unquote steal properties. Look, when you get a truly motivated seller that's in a dire straits because of divorce or loss of a job or bankruptcy or whatever, you will know it, okay? You can't really mess up a motivated seller because just you existing saying I buy homes cash, just that right there, we call that a lay down. Elijah says golden stuff right here. Awesome, man. It is good stuff, dude. It is. This is life-changing. I mean, like literally when we start doing this, it just changes our entire business and changes lives because now we can get more deals under contract. It makes sense. You're being fair to everybody. And now when you do the other side, which is work on specific types of cash buyers, these deals just come, they're flipping like hotcakes. So this is what I want to encourage you guys to do. So the justified offer, guys, please use it. Write it down, outsource it. If you don't want to be the person doing it yourself, you totally can, right? And if you're good on the phone, I encourage you to do it. But don't think for a minute that you have to, because you don't have to. I promise you, you don't have to. There are people out there on Upwork.com that will do this for you for $7, for $10. Oh, and by the way, they've been doing it for 10 years or 5 years for other real estate investors. So they know how to talk. They know the terminology. And they might know it better than some of us, right? If you're newer to the business, they might know it better than you, right? So consider what you are, where you're at in life, and consider it. So guys, I hope this was great information for you. I know it is for us. It's changed our business. It's changed my students' business. This stuff right here is going to absolutely change your life. Use it. Use the justified offer. It's a complete game changer. And I will guarantee you that when it comes to your inbound seller leads, you'll be able to get at least 80% of your deals under contract when you do this correctly. So master it and or outsource it to a master. So look, my friends, if you think that having personal support or having me help you and help walk you through this justified offer process, having the availability to ask me questions when you get rebuttals from the sellers or any issues with any virtual assistant that you might hire, and then for the whole entire wholesaling process, if you think you need help or if that would help you, or if that would make you be able to go out there and get more done, get more deals done, by having the personal support for when the going gets tough, meaning when you meet the obstacles, and for more clarity, for more support, personal support, then here's what I'm gonna do. I have an online mastermind, a virtual online mastermind, and I call it the Freedom Moguls Movement. As a matter of fact, check this out. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, hopefully you can. So here's what I've just decided to do. So and we wrote it out on the board real quick, okay? So for 72 hours, what I'm gonna do is open it up, and I'm gonna let 50 people come into the new mentoring program, okay? And I say mentoring, but it's an online virtual mastermind of fellow Freedom Moguls, other successful 6 and 7 figure real estate investors, successful wholesalers, successful 6-figure wholesalers, other students of mine, private money lenders, hard money lenders, okay? We're all on there for one common goal, and that is to build their ideal lifestyle together, help everybody flip more properties, make life a lot easier for you. And you guys know the community is amazing, okay? Everybody that's on there is constantly supporting each other all the time, 24/7, no matter where you are. It is a beautiful thing, and truly it's amazing because only because of modern technology can something like that happen. So here's everything that I'm offering right now. Again, I decided to do a 72-hour special. So every week in this community, I do weekly live training calls and Q&As. I usually get $4,000 to do that, okay? I'm gonna just give it to you, all right? The private mastermind community, that's $1,100 community, I'm just giving it to you. Okay, bonus number 1, for live events, I decided to go ahead and let you in first in line. Since Freedom Moguls is a killer new community, it's a lifestyle, it's a movement, we got awesome swag and cool shirts. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook you up with a shirt. We've been selling those for $29 to community members. I'm gonna give you lifestyle assessment resources. So that's gonna help you figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are. So whether with the justified offer, for example, are you somebody that should be on the phone talking to the sellers yourself, or are you better in a management position where you would manage like a virtual assistant to do it for you? And there's other ways as well. So, and bonus number 4, I'm gonna give you the digital manuals. Now the digital manuals are my videos that I created in order to instruct virtual assistants and other employees of mine for the things that they need to do on a daily basis, where to give me that information, so when, and then when it's due. So what to do, how to give us that feedback, or how to give us the results of the products of what they've done, and then the deadlines. So it's literally like a manual. Think of like McDonald's. How come anybody can go to McDonald's and McDonald's still continues to operate? Because it is boom, boom, boom. It's all manualized. You can really put anybody in there to do the process. Well, that's what I made out of this real estate wholesaling business, is I McDonald'ified it. Right? Franchised it. So anybody can get in there and just do it. So this is extremely vital to have. And I've had other wholesalers and competitors offer me $5,000 to $10,000 for those digital manuals. So I just decided for anybody that comes into my community, because we're all gonna be working together, I'm gonna go ahead and just give them to you. And all together, that's a value of over $10,000, okay? So I was thinking, the reason I wanna do this, right, and even offer this to anybody, is because the more people that come into this community, the more like-minded individuals, the more hungry, positive people that we get, the more we all do, the more deals we all do, the more our business grows. And I just love, at the end of the day, helping people become what they want to do, get out of the grind, get out of the 9 to 5, and become the successful investors that they want to be. Okay, start living the life that you want. So that's why the Freedom Moguls movement is more about lifestyle. It's about how do you create that ideal lifestyle through joining a community of other successful investors that can personally help you. Not books and courses, but how to actually get the real physical help. So what I'm doing is I'm going to offer this to everybody. That's why I'm limiting it at 50 seats for $47. That's right. So it's a trial price of $47. You get to go through the entire thing, jump on our master classes for a month, live weekly training calls, the whole 9 for $47 to try it out. If you like it, you stay on board. It's $197 a month to be personally coached by me and other 7-figure investors. If you don't, cancel. Okay? What's the worst that can happen? That you get coached for a month by 7-figure earners for free? So plus listen to our training calls, plus meet individuals, plus meet private money lenders, plus reach out to other people that are doing wholesale deals in your area that you can joint venture with. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-lose situation. But I told you why I'm doing this, because I want all of us to grow together, because it helps our company grow. And at the end of the day, I just love helping people. So $47. Click the cart below. Join. I promise you, this is an absolute game changer, and it's an industry changer. This is not a how-to course. This is a mentoring type of situation where other like-minded individuals have a singular goal within the Freedom Moguls movement to help each other. The interaction in this community is unbelievable. People love it, and we have testament after testimonials after testimonials of people saying this is the best, without question, the best thing they've ever done, and they wondering why it's so inexpensive. Well, it's because we all are building each other up, and I do deals with other people. So that's what it's all about. Click the add to cart button below. Join. I look forward to meeting you, and I look forward to helping you. Talk soon.